Hello and welcome. This is session 11 of my Pillars of Eternity Lorethrough White March edition. We are currently in the Foundry. As you can see, we have not explored the entire area yet. This is the third level of Durgan's Battery. We went through the first level, whose name I forget, and then we went through the mines, and now we are in the bottom level. Well, I don't know that it's the bottom level, actually. It might be, though, but we are on the lowest level we've explored so far, anyway, in the Foundry. Currently, we are in this room. I'm just going to auto-resolve this. You have accrued debt due to damage to the stronghold. You won't receive any income from taxes until it's paid. You only have 229,235 copper pawns. Let's see. Was anything destroyed? Yes, the south wall and the library too. Do the south wall first. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so we are in this room here, where we found some plaques on the wall and a globe. So let's examine the globe. The gilded globe has been crafted with exquisite detail. Mountains of hammered gold rise over mirror-smooth seas, and the rivers that carve the continents are as thin and neat as if they'd been carved with a razor. 3 perfect sapphires mark locations in Rawatai, Old Valia, and the Living Lands. The bronze band that circles the globe is inscribed with 3 repeating lines. Remember all Pargrunin, from the oldest before you to the youngest who follow you. Examine the globe. The rounded sapphires are just large enough for you to press them with your thumb. You test them and feel some kind of spring-loaded mechanism beneath them, but you can't determine anything further. Okay, so they are in Rawatai, Old Valia, and the Living Lands. And we have to remember all the Pargrunin from the oldest to the youngest. So old is first, young is last. So let's see what these say here. Meditate on those who came before you and those who go beyond you. Remember first your father and last your younger brother, but know all Pargrunin is kin. The corners of this tablet are chipped, but are otherwise in good condition. It reads, we plant ourselves in a strange and wild land, but remember well our roots. Though we are distant, know us still as kin. That sounds like the Living Lands. Cracks snake across the stone tablet. The edges have been worn smooth over centuries of handling. It reads, we who stand shoulder to shoulder alongside the oldest of kith, empires, send you forth. Honor us as we remember you. I don't know where that is, but that would be middle. Or that would be the first one. Second one would be Living Lands, and what's this one? The letters on this tablet are crisp and deep as if chiseled recently. They read, though our towers of stone are surrounded by gates of coral, we are Pargrunin still. Write our names in your halls and your hearts. So it seems like this is like the traveling of the Pargrunin dwarves from newest, which sounds like Deadfire, to the middle, which sounds like the Living Land, to the oldest, which is... that would be Old Valia, I guess. Alongside the kith, empires send you forth. So since we have to go oldest to newest, I am going to put in Valia, Living Lands, Rawatai. You depress the sapphire set in Old Valia. It sinks until it's flush with the surface of the gold. Living Lands. You depress the sapphire set into the Living Lands. It clicks into place beneath the rippling ridge of a mountain. And finally, Rawatai. You depress the sapphire set in Rawatai. It clicks into place along a curving coastline. As the last sapphire snaps into place, the globe glows with veins of brilliant blue light. Then it rotates a quarter turn. As the lights die out, you hear clanking gears and grinding stone from one side of the room. Okay.
Nice and quiet.
Just want to say here, I love that, like, paying attention to this lore. I knew what all those things were because I have been paying attention to the lore. So, again, just really rewarding to actually explore the lore in Aora and Pillars of Eternity to know what's going on, because otherwise I would have had to look that up. Traces of spiritual power. We have a unique battle axe, Wodwis. Wodwus. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Elven kingdom of Kulklin warred with the Edir kingdom for nearly 2 centuries before the two powers merged. During that time, many of the fiercest conflicts flared up along the edge of the Seathwood, where the two powers shared a border. The Seathwood elves used the jungle terrain to their advantage and quickly became infamous for their cunning and brutal tactics. Skirmishers would fell trees behind invading Ediran forces, while druids made more to grow in their path, confusing and stalling their foes. They would often pair these maneuvers with devastating, lightning-fast attacks, surrounding lost platoons and dragging stragglers into the forest. Most notoriously, they would hang their victims from the trees to warn off the further attacks. The Kulklin of the Seathwood were swift and improvised attacks quickly, owing in part to their use of everyday tools, axes, knives, and bows as weapons of war. Axes, such as Wodwis, have been used against folk and tree alike. So it's a tool, but it's also a weapon. And the Kulklin elves, as a reminder, they warred with the humans of the Edir kingdom until they eventually made peace with each other. That is, I think I spoke about it last session, the Fair Queening of the humans and the May Queen of the Kulklin elves. Okay. It's just a little treasure area there.
Abidan, guide us.
Yeah, use this one again.
That's...
I didn't even get to see it there. Bronze Abaddon statuette. Many households in Durgan's Battery have a statuette of Abaddon that was cast in the White Forge. The original was made by a renowned Aptapo sculptor. Maybe that's just something to sell.
We'll stand ready, Commandant.
Is there something in here? It's hard to tell.
Stand your ground!
So whatever was chasing them got through, and they are standing their ground here.
Quickly! There's not much time!
Wonder if these spirits are going to end up attacking us, like the last ones.
Alone, we've never introduced this much essence into the White Forge.
Abidan gave us the tools, Vassal. We've got to make them work.
So this is Elune and Vassal. It looks like... First, let's get these things, because there's something in here that's scripted interaction. Books and pages scrawled with equations and measures of essence are scattered across the table as if someone went through them in a hurry.
I can do that. That's settled.
Durgan iron ingots on the binding of souls. The margins of this text are scribbled with notes and references. The ink-stained pages appear to have seen much use in earlier times. The removal and transference of souls is a practice both ancient and sophisticated. There is evidence that the Ingwithans were particularly adept at this, yet few details have survived them. Someone scrawled Annals of the Pargrunin, pages 382 to 386 below this paragraph. What is known is that the removal of a soul is a difficult process and one that requires an expert hand and precise tools for any chance of success. Early attempts on a test pool of the 138 goats left most of the subjects with maimed and fractured souls. In all but 2 of the 11 instances where the soul was successfully removed, the essence dissipated before scholars could capture it. The words "transfer to holding vessel" are written and underlined in the margin. The process requires conductive materials, copper and adra specifically. Immersion in water is important to ensure that the soul is drawn in a steady and uniform manner, with no distortions or breakages. A warped soul is, at best, useless and at worst unpredictable. An arrow points from this paragraph to the scrunch note, extraction pool in CR, 18 feet wide by 3 feet deep. We have since mastered the process of soul transference and have seen the benefits of infusing forged work with the essence of animals and wilder. What remains to be seen is whether we see greater gains from using the soul of Kith, where we would procure appropriate subjects, and how much personality and autonomy we would want to leave intact in such cases. A string of notes winds around and below this paragraph, beginning with criminals, prisoners of war, volunteers, and ending with forge guardians and block letters. So these are notes, it seems, while they were figuring out how to employ the methods the Ingwithans used in making the Animats into making their own forge guardians. And it seems like they had a good grasp on how to do that with animal and wilder souls, but they were working out how to do it with Kith souls, much like Galvino, who was using criminals, prisoners of war, volunteers, those kinds of things, to inhabit into the Forge Guardians. It's starting to sound like something they were doing went wrong, and these Forge Guardians attacked. I could be wrong about that. Alright, let's see what happens when I touch this pool. Your skin prickles as you approach the vat. It teems with soul energy, with lives spent and stored thrice over. Essence roils like churning water, running over ancient pipes and gears. But there within the vat itself lies a heavy stone disc, rune engraved, and pale as bone. Reach for the object. You feel a chill run up your arm the moment your fingers brush the disc's surface. Whispers erupt from the stone around you, and out of that chorus rises a single, steady voice.
Stop! These methods belong to us! To the Pargrunin!
What happened here?
You would steal from us? From the...
Abidan himself. You will regret your trespass.
So this is Maroon, Zoltun, and Exandru. All I did was what happened here, and they're acting like I'm stealing something. You hear a grinding, clicking noise in the hall. Something moans and snarls outside. Did I get something? I got the Adra disc. This heavy circular object appears to have been carved from living Adra. Energy hums through it, setting the already vibrantly green disc into a gleaming shine. So we now have an Adra sphere and an Adra disc. And we're probably going to get attacked by something out here. Let's go down this way.
That's it! Parathis! That's it! Parathis!
There's something shooting at me from over here.
Not a sound.
So, been thinking about this in this bot over here where I got the Audra disc. I reached my hand in and was told not to steal what was in there, and all I did was ask what happened here, and then we got attacked. They were assumed that we were stealing this from them, the spirits of the commandants. That seems like that would have played out like all they were doing was playing out something that had already happened, so it didn't really matter what I said there. They were going to attack me. That's what it seems like to me anyway. Is there some kind of door here? Nope. Oh, there's going the other way.
Nice and quiet.
Strengthen us with your flame, Lord Abidan.
Temper us for the crucible.
With a crucible ahead. Huh. Precepts and Proverbs of Abidan. For every work there is a practice. Arm yourself with skill and temper your labors with patience. Strike only when your medium is ready. Do not cold work plate. Brittle steel is worse than a treacherous friend. Temper your work, lest it shatter like glass. Fools praise appearance, but the master praises strength. True virtue lies in work well done. Pattern welded steel shall be folded no fewer than 7 times. The finest smith cannot shape poor metals. Set your hand to steels that have been properly treated with charcoal. Like a room full of discord is a forge with uneven heat. Do not let it pervert your metal. As the blows of the hammer speak to the steel, so the color of steel speaks to the smith. Like a babe is heated steel, fragile and easily corrupted, handle it gently, lest your haste twist and warp it. Do not neglect work that lies hidden in the unseen, for a shoddy tang can break the blade. The wise smith works carefully, and anneals but once. The careless smith weeps and finds flaws after the steel has been hardened and tempered. As a blade drawn in multiple heats is work done in its proper time. So this is very similar to the daily affirmations of focus and deficiency, I think it's called. But is much more specific to actually forging. I have a feeling I know why that is, and hopefully I remember that when we come by the end of this White March DLC. I don't think we've explored yet what happened with Abidan, so I don't want to say too much now, but I hope I remember this when it gets to the end of the DLC. A bronze statue of Abidan stands over incense ash and rusted metal tokens. So another shrine. And they got another Audra sphere. Oh, this says treasury. Okay. So that puzzle that we did with the globe was just access to the treasury. Awaken the White Forge. So we found the White Forge. Now we need to awaken it.
A simple test. That's settled.
Bones, chipped but whole, have been swept into a pile. It looks as if these skeletons were once stacked, but they've fallen apart as their connective tissue has rotted away.
The Guardians will hold the door as long as need be.
Everyone else is ready. So few of us remain.
Lord Abidan, guide our hands and steel our hearts. Give us the mercy of your forge.
Who was that? That was the three, Maroon, Zoltan, and Exandru. Because the Alun was looking for the records. The pillar tugs at your essence. A pulse from the world itself moves through it.
Look at those carvings.
The interior of the forge is crusted with dark, rippled stone. This is amazing right here. The forge looks like the heated metal maybe would come out of this mouth and into this vat below. Amazing detail. Some more Durgan iron. A few tokens, filthy coins, and tattered ribbons have been scattered into this bone pit pile. Let me see. I just want to see if this is an exit here. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so I feel like this is a way that we can get down. I wonder if we can get back into. But okay, a few things. I'm just recognizing this. One, this place has been closed for centuries. Nobody knew how to get in, and it had to be a watcher that got in because they didn't remember. Nobody alive remembered the words to actually open the doors. So that makes sense as to why this wouldn't have been able to be entered. This entrance here seems to suggest, though, that people would have been able to get here if they entered through this door. It wouldn't have been easy. They would have had to use some like grappling hooks and stuff like that, but I feel like somebody would have figured out a way to do that. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Just seems like a little bit of an oversight there. Next, before we actually try to power up the forge, I have two things that I want to do. One, I want to rest where the Sky Dragon nest is so that we can upgrade Sagani's weapon. And two, I want to use that mine cart that we ran into in the mines section. So I want to do that before we actually try to start the forge. Okay. The crumbling edge of this long platform suggests that there was once stairs leading down from here, perhaps joining with the pathway some distance below. It seems a manageable jump from here on this side, but you doubt you'd be able to return the same way. Okay, gonna jump across. You leap, and for a dizzying moment, the ground below flashes past, and then you are across the gap and upon the second floor. Tower. Oh, I thought I was gonna be on the ground. Oh, okay, this is that first staircase. Or a staircase, because I think this is where I found the bow. Yep, okay. So let's get out of here. I wonder where these guys came from. I wonder if I just didn't run into them before, or if they actually have respawning enemies on some of these maps. I'll go this way. Why? I don't get why sometimes that doesn't work. I think that's some kind of a glitch. Okay. First, probably going to be a long trip. Going to go to the Temple of Hylia. Okay. First thing I want to do is check this again. Let's just check what the last words were on Sagani's weapon. Stormcaller became a fisherman. See Hylia's symbol here. I don't think I recognized that before when we were here. Hireling payday. So let's rest. Okay. Okay, so it does continue the story. Okay, I like that. So let's read this whole thing here. Stormcaller is completed. This bow is as smooth and light as driftwood, yet as hard as a sturdy mast. It feels warm in your hands as if one of his previous owners had just passed it to you. As you hold it, you can almost feel the sea spray in your cheeks and hear storm-whipped waves in your ears. Once, Stormcaller belonged to a young navigator on a merchant ship in the Deadfire Archipelago. She had an almost preternatural gift for predicting the weather. She could smell a storm brewing a day's journey away. On her final voyage, she detected a cyclone forming in their path. She instructed the captain to change course and seek shelter in a nearby strait, which he did. Unfortunately, a pirate ship was waiting there. The merchant vessel was boarded, and its crew slain. A lookout on the pirate ship Grinning Marilina took Stormcaller from the captured merchant ship. He used Stormcaller to fire on enemy ships from the crow's nest. While the Marilina approached, he could set flame to enemy sails or peg fleeing ships with rope arrows. However, when the captain began to look with envy at the marvelous bow, he jumped ship, sold Stormcaller, and became a fisherman. Stormcaller eventually found its way to Fairhope, a port town on one of the easternmost islands of the Deadfire Archipelago. Fairhope found itself besieged when a harbor master turned away the Seafang, a notorious pirate ship. The harbor master stationed archers on the cliffs around town, and while their arrows kept the Seafang from docking, they couldn't drive the pirate ship away. As a result, the Seafang prowled just out of range of the archers' arrows, close enough to discourage merchants and supply ships. As the siege stretched on, the harbor master called for more archers, promising a reward to any who could land an arrow on the Seafang. One young Glenfellan came forward, but when the harbor master saw her hunting bow, he laughed, explaining that she'd need a top-quality longbow at the least. But she insisted, and when the harbor master led her to the cliff, she called a storm that struck the Seafang and churned the waves around it. The harbor master watched as the Seafang sank before his eyes. When the wreck washed ashore, the Glenfellan drew Stormcaller and plucked an arrow into the broken mast. That's cool that they have like a story that kind of reveals itself as you go along. Okay, next back to Durgan's battery. Maybe I'll go to Stalwart first and rest at the end. Say Barrelt. So South Curtain Wall is completed. Barrelton, a deer and dignitary, arrived at the stronghold. He was nearly set upon by brigands on the road, but your patrols intervened. So nothing too much there. Going to start the West Curtain Wall now. Garrett's Chorus. One of the parts of Garrett's helm is somewhere in Stalwart Village. I should ask around about it. Oh. Maybe I'll rest and then I'll go talk to it. Maybe let's talk to Renengild first, actually. I feel like she might know. Nope.
Seems I was wrong about you.
Nope. Maybe Tana?
Got to speak up?
I wonder if I need to ask Aquinas because she has the awakened soul in her.
Heard the good news. Must have been grand stepping into that fortress. Guess they weren't lying about the Lord of Cadnua.
Oh.
Here, drinks on me. We should see a boost in business with the battery open. Makes for a brighter future than we had yesterday, for sure.
Between the service and the weather, I can get used to this place. Don't suppose you got more lead and key business in the area? So I want to rest. Oh. There are more options now. It used to just be the golden whale. Huh.
Something you need, sir?
Ha! Very good. Next time, tilt your head a little lower. Then you can get a look at his purse.
We're just practicing, of course. Don't mind us.
So this guy's teaching her to steal. Fie, you do well to keep an eye on that, lass, says Hazelmere. Who can we ask about this other piece of this helm? I didn't realize that you can actually hear the words, that they actually list the words that the bard is singing, and you can hear it, the song. Oh. Okay, maybe Tildor. Okay. Let's see if it gives us a hint. Find the other piece of Garrett's helm. I've located one part of Garrett's helm so far. The other parts are somewhere in the region. One of the parts of Garrett's helm is somewhere in Stalwart Village. I should ask around about it. I don't really know who else to ask. Let's try Thiersch.
Welcome. What coming to your elders?
Wait, I
Welcome.
can... Oh. Okay. And there's still some people down by the gift bearers that I might be able to ask. Ah, would you happen to possess an old helm or a horn that looks like it's supposed to be attached to a helm? Durgan opens a compartment of his wagon and pulls out a cracked horn partially wrapped in cloth. One of the villagers sold me this during a previous visit, he scowls. He said it came from some rare lake creature and was quite valuable. It's been dismissed as junk whenever I've tried to resell it. Unless you know otherwise? Yes, it's part of an artifact I'm trying to recover. Edrin beams. Ah, so not another bad investment on my part then. 600 pawns is my price. Done. Garrod, the world fades and your vision blurs. When it returns, you find yourself in the icy waters of a bay, your body numb from the cold and your lungs burning from exertion. Nearby are Ardal and Badrun. Both of them are swimming madly in an effort to pass you. On the distant shore await the other members of your tribe, and with them, Alara, daughter of the chieftain. It is for her hand that the three of you are competing today. Give up, Garrod. Ardal passes you, and despite your best efforts, you can't quite catch up. You look around to see where Badrun is, and it's by sheer chance that you catch a slight sea serpent's head surging towards your group. As before, the world stops, the memory's trail lost without your guidance. Attack the serpent. Your fatigue falls away as you turn to face the serpent. It charges you, its jaws wide, its foot-long teeth flashing in the sunlight. At the last moment, you dodge to the side, and its jaws snap shut. You're a hair too slow, and one of the serpent's horns tears open your forearm to the bone. You grit your teeth against the sudden pain and wrap your arms around the serpent's neck before it can turn around. It thrashes and rolls wildly, trying to throw you off. You hang on for dear life, weaker with every breath as your blood drains. You do the only thing you could think of and jam your fist straight through the serpent's eye, burying your arm as far as it can go. The serpent whips around in agony as your grip slips. You tumble through the air as your consciousness fades. The race. How could I have forgotten the events of that day? Garrod looks to his hands. I remember it now, but I feel no different yet. Please, you must find the last part of my helm. I've recovered 2 parts, only 1 part remains. Don't know where it is yet, so I guess just keep wandering around. Back to the battery to use the minecart, start up the forge. I don't know if we'll be able to get that done in the next 20 minutes or not, but we'll see. Oh, wait. That looks like the map place.
And what does the flame reveal?
Oh, I already found it. I was right, but I already found it. I don't even remember what was there. Oh well. Itmak leading the way. Oop, addendum. I've recovered 2 parts. I should search the Great Hall of Durgan's battery for a part of Garrod's helm. I mean, that's where I found the first one.
Keeping an eye out.
I do need those though. Did I not find this before? Letter to Zoltun. Esteemed Coinmaster Zoltun, I write to you in anger and bafflement. Have I not been a faithful customer to you? Have I not been fair in my dealings? Yet after all of our business together, your people turned me away like some filthy beggar. I arrived at the battery a fortnight ago, frost in my beard and not a morsel in my belly. Barely had I unhitched the horses when your commandant Exandru came to meet me. The priest told me that I would be made welcome, but my profane business would not. In short, I would have to leave at first light, my wagons empty. Certain that this was but a negotiating tactic, I told Exandru that I would of course see him compensated along the way. He left in a huff, and when I presented myself at the door, it was Commandant Maroon, your arms warden, who met me. She told me to leave at once, and that she wouldn't have my coin-grubbing hands tarnishing Durgan's steel. Now, I appreciate forceful bargaining as much as any man of coin, but I was cold, hungry, and put off by her vehemence. So I showed her the letter you had sent inviting me to examine your latest stock of Durgan steel. Commandant Maroon drove a rapier through the letter and sliced it in two. She then warned me that her blade, a fine weapon indeed, would be the last I ever laid eyes on if I did not hie back down the mountain at once. Never have I endured such humiliation and expense only to return home empty-handed. I do not understand what has passed between you and your associates, but I urge you to take charge. I fear the other commandants will be your undoing. Indeed, that of all Durgan's battery, if you do not deal with them swiftly and decisively. Yours, Maestrianato of Cesaro. So, yeah, this is the heart of the conflict, Durgan steel. Some people thought they should sell it. Some people thought they should keep it to themselves. I don't know. I'll come back and look later. Maybe I'll do that part off camera, because I can't imagine it's that fun to watch me wandering around trying to find a piece of a helm, especially if I have to do it in scouting mode. This empty minecart sits upon the tracks leading down a dark mining tunnel. There's a lever behind it. Climb in. You and your allies clamber into the minecart in graceless jumble of jabbing elbows and weapons. Pull the lever. With a shriek of grinding metal, the lever slides into place. The cart gives a mighty shudder and then starts rolling slowly along the track. The minecart moves down a hill and quickly gathers speed. On the next rise, it becomes clear that there is some form of enchantment upon the tracks. The cart loses none of its momentum. After a sharp turn, you find yourself rapidly approaching a fork in the tracks. One track heads left and another upward and to the right. Can I look around quickly? You notice another lever set alongside of the tracks. The minecart hurtles along towards it. Grab the lever as you pass. Who will grab for the lever? Adair. In a show of agility, Adair manages to hang over the side of the cart and grab the lever as it comes along. The lever slams into place and the impact nearly knocks Adair out of the cart. There's a grinding noise and then the tracks shift ahead of you. Just in time, the cart rattles onto the right track. After a dizzying series of turns and twists, the minecart slows, then stops at the entrance to a new cavern.
I shall be discreet.
Oh, there's our sigil of the shield that we needed. Dented minecarts and heaps of rubble block this tunnel. Okay. Hop in. You and your companions clamber into the minecart. You pull the lever, and hear the now familiar whine of rusty wheels as the minecart starts rolling along the track. After a series of gentle twists and turns, the cart approaches a familiar cavern. Let's go the other way this time. Climb in, pull the lever, continue. Wow, it's the only place that we can go. Alright, so gotta come here now. Because we have the 3 sigils. Sword, helm, and shield. Despite the years of weathering where the helmets on the other armors in the room are plain and lusterless, this one is brighter and more reflective. So this is the helm here. You hold the symbol in place, matching its protrusions against the holes in the circular depression. They align perfectly. A gentle push is enough to slide the symbol into its receptacle. You hear a faint clicking sound behind the stone wall. This, I'm going to guess, is the shield. The armor has been posed, bracing behind a broad shield, thick and sturdy as a city gate. Shield. You hold the symbol in place, matching its protrusions. They align perfectly, blah, blah, blah. Same thing as before. And finally, the sword. You hear a faint clicking sound. So they're all in there. Let's see what happens. Nightshroud, a soul-bound mace. Shadows ooze and pool around you, filling your mind with memories of furtive expeditions, clandestine meetings, and the traffic of secrets. You hear the whispers of the men and women who snuck, struck, and survived by the power of the weapon. Okay. Gonna bind it. Oh no, that's only rogue and priest. Do I want to give this to Durance? Yeah. Okay. Cause the blinded affliction 13 times with Nightshroud to unlock the next level. And it's 10% chance to cast blind. Okay. Cool. Now let's go.
Treasures. You profane.
Oh, okay. They did not like that. Fragment of a Pargrunan warrior.
Abidon's sacred ground.
So something I wanted to mention as we are going to the next level, and I've posited on this before, but I'm not sure how far I actually went. But I've been talking about the weapons that have unique properties in this world. And since we met Galvino, we see that weapons can hold some kind of soul essence in it. And some of the weapons that we've been reading seem to kind of take on the characteristics of the person who first wielded them, or maybe of people who have wielded them throughout history. So it seems like weapons have these properties, in part at least, because they imparted some of the soul essence from their users, which is very interesting, I think. And it seems like that's why some of these weapons have these special properties, not because someone put them into a lab and enchanted them somehow, but rather their soul essence of a particularly powerful user was actually placed into the weapon itself. And it sounds like it's not even done on purpose. It's just kind of done through use. Okay, so let's get this forge running, maybe. A large stone dragon skull stands silent vigil at one end of the circular chamber. Within its maw is a network of steel dividers, tubes, and vents, indicating that the impressive construction served as the furnace for the White Forge. There is a shallow basin at the foot of the furnace, and in the eye sockets of the skull itself are golden rings, evidently meant to house some manner of gem or instrument. Okay, so that's what the Adra spheres are for, and then we have the stone disc in the hollow space. So I'm going to examine the forge. The dragon skull gazes down upon you with hollow eyes. Both have gleaming golden rings worked into the sockets, and both of these stand empty. In its basin, at the base of the furnace, you note a rectangular gap as if something once sat within. Place an Adra sphere into the left eye socket. With a little climbing, you're able to reach the eye socket and carefully wedge the sphere into place. It fits snugly, and you think you sense a small ripple of energy as the eye is set within. You feel a faint vibration through the skull. It grows in intensity until the very ground seems to shake, loose cobblestones rattling in their settings. You leap from the furnace to confront what's coming.
Stirs in the heart of the battery.
Let me see the heat traveling through this left corridor because we put it into the left eye socket. Place an Adra sphere into the right eye socket. You climb into position and carefully set the Adra sphere into the golden ring as the center of the skull's eye socket. The sphere fits perfectly, and as it drops into place, a peculiar burst of energy ripples outward from the dragon's eye and through you. The air shifts almost imperceptibly around you. The Adra sphere you have placed suddenly blazes with an orange light, fading from a blinding brightness to the vibrant glow of a campfire. A thin smoke rises from both orbs, and the depths of the furnace you think you hear the rattling of machinery.
Heat. Tremors. They returned.
So the other one is running. I wanted to see if we could tell who is speaking here. Now it says what stirs in the heart of the battery. Heat, tremors, they return. So there's no names that are attached to that. Okay, last thing. Place the stone disc in the hollow space behind the basin. You place the stone disc into the basin and find that it fits perfectly within the hollow. Before your eyes, the disc turns of its own accord, rotating this way and that before finally sinking into position. From deep within the furnace comes a startling metallic screech as if some hidden mechanism has come to life. From the vents around you rises hot, stale air in the glow of rising fires. A gust of hot air erupts from the stone dragon's maw. Molten ore drips from the basin, and dark, billowing smoke begins to gush from between the skull's fangs. You hear another rending shriek, but not of machinery. Around you rises a chorus of howls, bodiless voices raised in rage and despair.
Pargrunen, defend the battery!
So this is the three commandants here, and now we have to fight some Forge Guardians. Alright, here goes. Oh, and we have to fight the fragments of Maroon, Exandru, and Zoltan. Okay.
Leave it to me!
There it goes. So this is like, they're very similar to the Automats, which makes sense since they were inspired to do this based on what they saw at Kleban Relog. pillar tugs at your essence. A pulse from the world itself moves through it. Okay, and here we can speak to this Audra.
Stop, Marauder! Our bodies are dust already. Must you profane holy ground with further violence?
Flames roar and whip from within the forge. As they rise, their glow washes the room in a gory crimson light.
Did the height of our walls offend you? Did we cross your borders? Sell you weak steel? Tell us, why did you invade our fortress?
Behind the anger and through the roaring flames, you hear the voice of a tired old man. I'm going to use my lore to say Durgan's battery has been deserted for over 200 years.
No, that cannot be. Abidon wouldn't allow it.
The flames flicker and shudder, and the stones beneath your feet grow suddenly cold.
Wake up, Exandru! This is why Abidan gave us the White Forge, that we might take up arms and deal with villains like this.
Heat surges once again from the forge, prickling your skin.
Such a magnificent device, and she can only see it as a tool for war. She shames our grandparents, who wandered this continent and...
They have been harboring these resentments toward each other for centuries, even as just spirits.
Quiet, both of you! Can't you feel it? This chill. This silence.
The fires crackle and snap.
But you entered our keep and found it abandoned. Ruined. What happened to us?
It seems like... I don't think they destroyed one another. It seems like they were fighting against something. The official history is that you destroyed yourselves, but it looks like someone or something invaded the battery. I like that one better, based on what we've been seeing here.
I'd never seen anything like them. Twice the size of any ogre, and positively fearless. They were...
eyeless. Yet no matter how hard we fought, or how deep we hid, they kept coming for us.
What were they?
Some kind of magfolk, but bigger than any we knew of. We who survived never got close.
They were relentless. Unnaturally so.
Why did they attack you? They didn't stop to explain themselves. Yet I wondered at what monstrous wilder might survive in a place like this.
We should have taken our steel and pushed east.
That is consistent with what Maroon's been saying. She didn't want to stay here in this place and just keep building weapons for other people. She wanted to be nomadic like most dwarves are in this world. Also, I want to say here, this is still a mystery as to what actually attacked them. They definitely were fighting amongst themselves, but that actually isn't... It doesn't seem like that's what caused their downfall. It seems like it was something else.
What's to say they didn't come from the east? From the lands Maroon so coveted?
It was a punishment for taking this gift of Abidon, the White Forge, and squandering it on our greed and vanity.
The other voices say nothing, but you feel their doubt and dissent in the stifling heat of the forge. Go on.
We retreated until there was no place left to go. Until those of us who remained were here.
Here, with the salvation Abidon had left us.
You use the White Forge to channel your souls into the battery.
Yes, using the same methods with which we had fashioned so much cold steel.
So, you use the White Forge to channel your souls into the battery, so their souls are actually a part of Durgan's battery.
It was agony. Feeling your soul ripped from your flesh. Feeling every part of you torn asunder. But it saved us.
Imprisoned us.
It was Abidon's grace. Now, we inhabit the monument our people built to the White Forge.
What does this have to do with Abaddon?
The White Forge belongs to Abidon, of course. It is here that he built his own body.
And whether he found this place or created it, It's a truly remarkable smithy.
We Pargrunin are wanderers by nature. But it was Abydon's call that led our forefathers here after generations spent along the Pearl Coast and Air Glonfath.
That was that trip that we were talking with the puzzle with the north, south, east, west.
So the old stories say. Then again, I can't see any other reason our grandfathers would have stayed here when greener lands lay east. So
again, that fight conflict as to whether they should continue their adventures or set up shop here and their homes here. How does the White Forge work?
Been blessed by Abydon. They're fed by Eora's molten heartbeat and veined with Audra that runs to the center of the world.
Which explains their conductive power. See, these Audra veins allowed us to siphon essence into steel as we shaped it.
And that essence, the extraordinary heat of the forge, and our smith's skill is what made Durgan's steel so remarkable.
I see. And now you're here, in Durgan's battery.
Stuck here, you mean? With all the others who sought to escape the Eyeless.
Is that a bad thing?
Had we thought longer on the fate that awaited us, we might have chosen a quick death to this slow agony.
Just realized this. Armsword and Maroon said eyeless before, but it seemed like she was just talking about whatever she was whatever was attacking Durgan's battery didn't have eyes. But here, she's using it as a proper noun. So the eyeless are the names of the things that attacked.
Blasphemy! There's no greater honor than remaining here, watching over the White Forge.
I suppose that's one way to look at it.
I only wish we could protect this humble monument better.
Or do something. Anything. We were once among the greatest smiths in the known world. Tell me, do Kith still speak of us?
Yes, and highly. You are still regarded as master smiths. We've been hearing about this since the beginning of... We've been hearing about Durgan Steel since Defiance Bay.
That is good to know. It's only a shame that this legacy is nothing but a memory.
The White Forge radiates gentle warmth.
Is this why you braved the restless souls of Durgan's battery? To recover the process of Durgan Steel?
I'm going to say there's a village called Stalwart that's fallen on hard times. They asked me to find the White Forge. At this admission, you feel a softening in the essence of the Pargrunin. In one moment, each soul and fragment is distinct, and in the next they form an indistinguishable host. You perceive them as a school of fish caught in a tide, a flurry of snowflakes in the wind, a pantry full of fragrant spices.
Then I hope you're satisfied with what you found here.
At least you get to leave this place.
But it was good to be remembered. However briefly.
As the souls of Durgan's battery speak to you, their collective essence takes shape, much like Merwald's did. There are scores of them, all torn by conflicting purposes and trapped in the memory of their lost battle. You taste the bitterness of their uncertain existence and feel the persistent ache of centuries. It is a slow, agonizing fate, but you find it in your power to grant them another. I'll release them. They've done this long enough. You perceive the tenuous connections between the souls in the battery. As you sever them, the souls cry out, some in relief and others in rage. Okay. Pressure builds in the ether, which swarms with essence and energy. You cover your ears and grit your teeth against the devastating hum that builds in the core of your soul. White Forge is now available for your use. It has the unique ability to refine Durgan iron ingots. Multiple iron ingots are required to create a single refined ingot. After refinement, these ingots can be used anytime in enchanting recipes to augment weapons, shields, armor with Durgan steel. Okay. Pelagina has completed her adventure. So I have 4 refined Durgan iron ingots now. Okay. But before we look into that, we are over an hour at this point. So we finally got the White Forge back up and running and released the dwarves here. Some of those dwarves seemed relieved. Some of them seemed angry about that. That's probably what would have happened no matter what choice I made to do with the souls. And now we can enhance our weapons and armor with this Durgan steel. So we're going to have to see about that next session. I believe since the White March was a 2-part expansion, White March Part 1 and Part 2, this is the end of Part 1. So we're going to switch gears a little bit on our path to Part 2 after we let the people of Stalwart know that the White Forge is back up and running. So that will be next session, though. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I hope you join me in the next one. Feel free to leave any comments or suggestions or questions or anything like that. And I hope to see you in the next session. Bye, everybody.